Hi guys, Rob here. Today I'm going to be taking you through Citadel of Flame Explorer mode. It's a level 75 dungeon. The story version of this is 70. But it's probably the easiest dungeon, and there's a lot of people just farming this one on my server. I don't know what it's like on other servers, but the gear set, from what I make out, is the best looking throughout the whole of the game at the moment. So there's 3 different options you can choose in each Explorer mode dungeon. In this dungeon we're going to be using option 2, which is with an NPC called Mag, and he's basically going to be telling us what we've got to do throughout the dungeon. So the first set of mobs we're going to go against are these God-forged Hellstorms. Now these have a flame that comes from one of their hands, and they also melee. Now if you get hit by the flame, it will apply a dot, and it does tick for quite a lot, so trying to keep out of the way of the flame is what you're basically going to be doing on here, especially as a melee class. As you see, I just ran in with a greatsword and it just ticked for about 3k, 4k maybe. So once they're down, you're going to be moving on to the next part of the dungeon. Mag should follow a random person, because basically what you have to do with Mag is you have to take them to certain areas of the map to activate other parts of the dungeon. So the thing you see in front of me, it's going to spawn into a nest. Now mobs do come out of the nest, and the mobs here have a knockback, and they will also apply poison to you, which does tick for quite a lot. So you're going to be trying to avoid getting knocked back, and you're going to be obviously getting poisoned and just trying to remove the poison as quick as possible. Now the nest is the thing that you're going to be concentrating on to start with. That has to be nuked down, because more mobs will spawn if it's not down. And you don't want the mobs up too long, because the more poison damage is being put around, the more likely is the whole team's going to die. So once they're down, we're going to move on to the next room, and we have to take Mag there to activate the next event, which is done just on this hillside here. Now there's the same things on the floor as what you just see a minute ago, but there's 7 of these up this slight hill, and nests will spawn. These have to be nuked down as fast as possible. If not, you get overrun with ads, and there'll be so much poison damage being applied to everyone that you will wipe. Now with these mobs, some groups tend to nuke down the nests and leave the mobs. You can do it in that option, but we tend to kill all the mobs just simply because we're going to be jumping down onto this hill again, and we don't want to have the chance of anyone dying if we're going to be trying to get through this as quick as possible. Now I might as well point out, the build I'm using is a Signet build. With this build I do get around about 76% crit, so you will see me critting most of the time, and I'd never use my burst skill while using the greatsword, because I get more critical damage while at 3 stacks of adrenaline. So the next set of mobs we're going to go up against are the God-forged fanatics. Now these chuck fire, and when it lands on the floor it stays there. So you're going to be wanting to get out of that as quickly as possible, because again it does apply a dot which ticks for a lot. They also melee, and they also charge, I believe. So most of the mobs in here is just a matter of keeping out of the way, dodging and removing your dots that they're applying to you, and bursting them down as quick as possible. One thing I'd like to know from the viewers is what dungeons you're finding the most enjoyable, and what gear sets that you like, and especially from Warriors, what builds you're using. At the moment I'm obviously using the Signet build, and I see a lot of Warriors that are using this, But I'd also like to try some other builds out, like some support builds, some healing builds for PvE. So if anyone's got any options that they've been trying, give us a link in the comments and I'll try your build as well. I do like trying all different types of builds. So here's the next mob. He's a prison guard and he is very easy to kill. He does a knockback and he has mobs that spawn. You're going to be wanting to kill the mobs as quickly as possible because they do apply poison, and you're just going to be nuking him down and dodging his hits. He does hit hard, he can one-shot you. So yeah, just keep out of the stuff that he spawns and try and not get knocked back. Other than that, this dungeon is fairly easy. So I am going to be splitting this dungeon up into 2 videos. Part 2 I will link at the end of this video for you to see. I broke it down into 2 parts simply so I can show everyone how easy this dungeon is and show them all the fights. So there we have it, guys. This is the end of the first video, and as always, happy gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe.